Hello everyone, this is Codera the Great. You may notice something different and unusual about this video. It's not cutting to my face as per usual, so you're not seeing me like in the flesh. You're only hearing my voice and the album cover before you. Not to worry, I just wanted to go into a bit of a different direction than before. Like to cut all the likes, us, and so to speaks that I noticed litter many of my previous videos, the filler words. I wanted to stick to a script for me to read off of just so I can avoid using those words if necessary. Right now, I'm not using a script because I just wanted to give you this introduction, but for the actual substance, the content of the review, I wanted to stick to a script just to maintain a veneer of professionalism and just to make the video better for you guys, my subscribers, anyone else that may stumble upon this video that likes Blind Guardian or may not be a fan of Blind Guardian but just was interested in what all the fuss was about, and for myself personally because, well, most importantly myself personally, because if I'm not happy then why should I make these videos for you? So anyway, I'm wasting your time right now by rambling, so let's get on to the album. So now we have arrived. The latest Blind Guardian album, their 10th one in fact, Beyond the Red Mirror. It's been 5 years or so, 4.5 to be precise, since 2010's At the Edge of Time. I've been to this band's work since Christmas of 2010. That's the first time I've heard about them personally. So now it's really exciting that I get to talk about a new album from them as it's being released. So let's see what it's all about, shall we? So first off, we start with The Ninth Wave. It's the longest song of the album at 9 minutes and 30 seconds. This song gives us a good idea of what the rest of the album is going for, which is basically a continuation of the previous 3 albums, only of certain elements being ramped up considerably, such as the choirs and the orchestra. The song itself is amazing, and has some really catchy melodies that remind me of Fly from A Twist in the Myth, which is actually the first song that got me into Blind Guardian, as a matter of fact. So it's like I'm getting into the band for the first time, all over again. Certainly a great feeling indeed. It's interesting that a song on here bears the same name as the previous album, At the Edge of Time, even though there is no title track for this album. It's like a title track for the wrong album, which is kind of fascinating. Reminds me of when Burzum had an album called Det som en gang var, but the song of the same name didn't appear until the album after it. However, I think this song fits better on this release since, like I said, the orchestra plays a large part on this song, and it tends to be more dynamic on this album overall than on the previous record, still without having to take the attention away from the band, like I felt happened with Rhapsody of Fire a lot of the time, but I guess that's just me though. It's one of the album's highlights as far as I'm concerned. It's just a great, great song. Definitely recommend this one. The band members themselves are in great musical shape and form here, despite being middle-aged, with Hansi the vocalist pushing 50 and still showing off an impressive range and depth that most singers his age start to really lose by that point, and yet he hardly breaks a sweat here. It's actually the first album to not feature longtime session bassist Oliver Halsworth, sorry to butcher that name in advance, since Imaginations from the Other Side, when Hansi last played bass. And I know what you might be thinking, but no, Hansi doesn't pick up the bass again here, sorry. They just hired another bassist named Berend Corboy. Sorry to butcher that name in advance also. Conceptually speaking, there's a storyline that's related to the Imaginations from the Other Side album. It's that album's 20th anniversary, so that makes sense. The protagonist described herein has to bridge the 2 worlds described on both of these albums by going through the self-titled Red Mirror. That must be why there are some thrashier tunes on here like The Holy Grail, to reach for that older period of time, so the old schoolers may appreciate this move. And of course, I have to talk about The Grand Parade, which ends this album along with the sweet piano ballad, Miracle Machine. It's the second longest song of the album. It's a second shorter than The Ninth Wave that opened it. The Ninth Wave was 9 minutes 30 seconds long. This is 9 minutes and 29 seconds. If I had to describe what this song sounded like, I would say it's a blend of Wheel of Time and Nightfall. So if you love those 2 songs like I do, You'll certainly get a kick out of this. Andre actually claims this to be, quote, the best song the band ever wrote, end quote. So that's saying something, alright. So all in all, I really love this work. A couple songs don't stick with me as long as others, but I have to be honest, this was only my first listen, and I have yet to be disappointed with anything the band has put out, including this new release. This is still an excellent album by an excellent band, and I will only continue to like this album with repeated listens. I'm not going to give this a score because in the long run, grades are pretty arbitrary and static representations for what you think the first time around, and my thoughts on the album will only change and become more nuanced as this year and as successive years go on. So I don't think a grade will hold up in the long run. And I'm also not in the mood anyway, so blame my laziness too. Regardless, I cannot recommend this album enough, and it's a fantastic start to a new year that promises to bring in more fresh new surprises like this album here. Definitely support Blind Guardian and give this a purchase. Thank you, and take care.